Hi guys, I'm Shmee, hello and welcome back to the channel where you join me for the next update with the newest addition to the Shmeemobiles, the BMW 1 Series M Coupe or 1M, the ultimate E82, the follow-on from my old 123D, which today we're going to do a bit of an investigation with to try and figure out if this is going to be revealing any surprises. Now, I've bought from the bottom end of the market a car that has had one single owner from new, all of the service stamps, but has driven over 93,000 miles. Now, we're going to be plugging in an OBD reader, taking a look out at what fault codes this thing is storing before we head over to the go-to specialists for something in the M world. We're going to be stopping by my friends at Evolve to pop this up on the ramps and see what lies underneath. And I rather suspect there are going to be some surprises. Now, don't get me wrong, I knew with this particular car, buying the cheapest out there, that we would need to be upgrading, replacing, updating a few different components, some of which we can talk about today. I'm just hoping at this stage that it's not going to be full of any more surprises. Since picking up the car, we've been over at the Goodwood Festival of Speed, but I have managed to drive about 100 miles in it so far, which has confirmed one thing we already knew, which is that the diff needs some work. It hasn't revealed any other massive gremlins yet, though. Now, I say this probably a little bit more pessimistically than I should. It's done a lot of miles, but it's a BMW. It's been well looked after. However, the paintwork, we're going to need to investigate. We just need to have a full look at it. And I want to build it into something akin to what we did with my Clio V6. OEM Plus, we're calling it. Suspension, brakes, small upgrades. We're not going for crazy power. We're not trying to put 500 or 600 horsepower out of this, or even do an engine swap or anything nuts like that. I want to keep it in Valencia orange because it's a unique color here in the collection. But I do want to figure this out. So the first thing we're going to do is plug in the reader and see if that's going to reveal anything to begin with. On the topic of paint, we know that this car has had some paint work done in the past, obviously given the mileage, and the fact that it's not completely obliterated at the front with stone chips. There are some up on the roof. It's not necessarily the best job, but it's not too bad. We're going to decide what we want to do with that and check the alignments and that kind of thing. Headlights are a topic because there is a light error message showing inside, even though visually they all seem to be working. These, however, need a refresh. They are looking very cloudy. Lenses, or maybe just replace the whole units. Definitely want to change the orange rings that you have inside into a white light. So that's on the agenda. Firstly, though, down here, we have the new Mucar CDE 900 from THINKCAR. In fact, we have actually been using one on recent trips. So on the Gumball 3000, for example, we have taken that with us to be able to do the readout. And we also have for here at the garage the full system as well. So we tend to use that if we ever need to get a readout from a car, error codes, that kind of thing. Talking of which, let's plug this in because I want to see what exactly this is going to report for us today. Now, very easy in here, OBD port just down there. Plug this in nice and simply, literally just like that. Grab the key out of my pocket. You need to make sure the ignition is on, which in here, old school pre-start buttons. Let me press that. The car is giving me some errors. It will give us the pings because, of course, the door is open and that kind of thing. But let me just start this. For a $40 one-time fee, you can actually get even further features. But if I press scan in here, we've got BMW. Let's go straight in, get this set up, and get a report loaded. Take a look at this. We've got the VIN, we've got the mileage, obviously just over 150,000 kilometers. E82 1 Series M Coupe, manual right-hand drive, built in 2011 in Germany with the N54 engine. Head to next. This is where I have just done that, so we can go straight in, read the vehicle data, and this is where you can dive into all sorts of different control modules. Obviously read your engine transmission, TCM, ECU, lots of other things, ABS, all the different systems. We do this quite often because you want to know what's going on with different cars, works with tons of different manufacturers. You've got all sorts of specific data in here as well. I thoroughly recommend having one of these to just know what the car is up to. If it pings up an error message, you can clear the fault codes if you need to as well, if that's stopping it from doing something despite just being a little readout. You've got all sorts of O2 sensors, CAT sensors, all sorts of different things that it can tell you as well. It just literally reads into it. We can then click the health report, bring up the system in here, scans it very quickly. ECM, ABS, we've got a clean bill of health. It's not given us any fault codes. No error codes that I need to delete right now. That's actually really impressive. I'm surprised. I thought there would be something stored in it, but no, we're all good. That is perfect. I thought even just the fact that we're on the battery or something, it would ping up with that, but no, good to go. So I guess we'll pack up for the time being, get ready to drive over to Evolve and go lift it up in the air. Obviously, the beauty of that is it's a tiny thing that you can stow in the car, take with you, especially if you're going on a road trip. And if you think about how much time I spend on the road with the different Shmeemobiles, always have one of those on you. So I'll pop the link and information down below for these. Obviously, a cheaper alternative, even with the $40 one-time fee, than the bigger device that we use as well, and gives you the information that you need. Nice and easy, plugs into the OBD on any car, and off you go. So let's go for a drive. A little bit of acceleration as we head out onto the motorway. Probably going to have good old traffic because England doing England things, but we don't have too long a drive over to Evolve. Now, the last time I went to Evolve was actually with my GR Yaris. We did a few of the upgrades there, like the rear seat delete, and had a couple of other things, I think, on that day as well. But they are very much focused on M cars, and this, if you ask me, is like the ultimate M car, hence why we're taking it to Evolve. Eventuri and Evolve being based in the same location. We'll meet up with Imran and with Aston and the team over there and have more of a thorough look at what's going on with this car and just try and figure it all out, because truth be told, it's not bad at all. Like, it's actually in a really good state. There are just things that we know we do need to do. I mentioned before, like this, for example, which, given it's a standard part, you can easily replace. Or I gather you can actually replace this with a part that also gives you nav with Android Auto, which would be very helpful. So that's something I'll probably look into as well. Steering wheel, definitely want to give it an Alcantara steering wheel to match with this, with the orange stitching. I think that would be really nice to link in with that. Perhaps look at some seats. Oh, hey, look at this. Random timing. 458 Spider cruises past. There we go. Wouldn't mind a 458 one day. That's also on the slightly rewind bucket list, because that car actually came out the same year that this car came out. Pretty much, maybe 1 year difference, the 458 Spider. This came out in 2011. I'm sure the Spider would have been 2011-ish, and the Coupe, the Italia, was 2009, if I remember correctly. Anyway, very, very nice, but let us make our way over. As you can see, it drives well. We might have to do an exhaust. Might need to make it a touch louder. Cold start is nice, as you just heard, but I wouldn't mind a little bit more noise when you're on the go. One thing I find quite interesting when you get into a car like this has 340 horsepower, but obviously it's small, it's light, and when you put your foot down, it goes. It goes decently. I mean, that's from about 30 up to 60. And that's, in the real world, what you want from a car, and that's why my garage seems to be drifting at the moment in the direction of things like the Emira, the Clio V6, the Focus RS, the 1M, cars with a usable amount of power, something you can actually drive, something you can actually enjoy, although I'd enjoy it even more if I wasn't stuck behind somebody. But anyway, can't change that. We are now on the industrial estate, so Evolve is just up here, ready to pop this car hopefully straight in. Let's wait and see what greets us. Ooh, hello, M4 CSL, amongst other things. So let me just park this for a minute somewhere. Oh, there we go, we've got the Evolve M4 as well. I'm going to pop this, let's go forwards in here for the moment, go in and say hello and get ready to pull this car in and take it from there. We're here, back with Imran. How you doing?
Hi Tim, how's it going?
It's all good. You guys have just come straight back from, as we all have, an exhausting Goodwood.
Yes, I was there from Wednesday onwards, 7 a.m. starts every day, talking continuously with people. My throat is just finished.
Gone, done. But we've come out with this.
Yeah.
Because you're M specialists, you know a thing or two about these kind of cars.
Yeah, a little bit.
Maybe a little bit,
Yep.
a couple of things.
Yeah, a couple of things.
So the plan with this, I guess it's kind of like a standard inspection.
Mm-hmm.
Just pop it up, have a look. I mean, the more I look at it, like even the exhaust tailpipes are a bit knackered.
I've never seen exhaust tailpipes like that on a 1M.
Yeah.
This has been well used.
Have you had a few big 1M projects in?
Yeah,
like,
back in the day we used to do them all the time. So yeah, people would be coming in for tuning, suspension, the works, really, everything. Yeah, seat M Performance seats were really popular on these back in the day. Because
these are obviously the completely standard seats, and that is something to look at and think about. I want to make the car feel fresh. So, you know, things like worn interior trims, we've got a few panels here and there we're going to need to figure out and change up. But the idea basically being of how you can take a car that's had a pretty good life and make it into something that's fresh and ready to rock and roll again.
Yep.
Talking about fresh.
Yes.
That's pretty fresh.
That's minty fresh.
Minty fresh.
Yeah, so that's our G82 M4 project car.
Yeah.
So it started life off completely standard. I spec'd it, so this is my spec.
Yeah.
So this is a proper YouTube, Instagram spec
yeah,
car. You know a thing or two about that.
Oh,
the keys are inside.
But have a nosy through the window because you've got the full blue and yellow interior seats against the.
I had to sign 2 disclaimers. About the spec, yeah.
Really? They were like, this
they
is
said,
so
you're not
out
taking
there.
it back. We're not taking this back.
You're not allowed to cancel this
basically.
order. Power-wise?
So currently this is 750 horsepower.
Whoa.
It'll do 9.94 quarter miles on normal, regular pump fuel without any kind of methanol injection or anything like that. And that's literally just the inventory intake, downpipes, exhaust, and a remap.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the plan for it?
The plan is now we've built the engine, so forged engine, we've built the gearbox. So we're going to fit port injection and bigger turbos, and that should take us to around 1,000 horsepower. So it's already ridiculously quick.
Leading the new generation M3, M4 development around the world.
Yes.
Getting 1,000 horsepower. That's mad. So in a moment, we'll pull this inside, pop it up on the ramp.
Okay.
And see what we find.
Cool, let's go.
It is time to pull my baby BMW into the workshop. We'll have a quick walk through. Aston is pulling it in. We'll have a big chat in a moment when this is going up on the lift to start taking it all in. Feels right at home, doesn't it? See work in progress with M4 CSL, X5M, plenty of other awesome projects always in this workshop. Let's come down and see what's up with this. On the lift here at Evolve, up we go. Of course, as mentioned, those have definitely seen better days. This is going to be a full run through, obviously looking fairly well used, but check for any leaks, seals, anything funky like that we need to work from with this thing. You've just been taking a quick look at this then?
Yep, so we took the trays off, so obviously it gives you a lot more access to have a look at the bottom of the engine and the gearbox. A few things we've noticed that have been looked after and they've been changed, such as like the gearbox fluid has been changed. So the diff I don't think has been touched, and if it has, it hasn't been recently because you can see like by the dirt on the plugs and stuff, they look quite old.
Yeah.
But then
surface rust and stuff.
This is all just surface rust and thing, but there's no leaks from either the side seals or the front seal. Judging by the bolts on the prop, I don't know if you can see them up there, they look fairly clean. Now, they're normally quite rusted, especially of a car of this age. So it's either been very, very well looked after or they have been changed recently for some reason. Yeah. And then if you move towards the front of the prop, again, this rubber is looking quite fresh. So maybe they changed that over along with the gearbox mounts as well. The two rubbers here, they look quite clean. So it's maybe had those changed at some point. And then as I was saying with the gearbox, the drain plug and the filler plug are fairly fresh. So that's been changed recently as well.
Which normally is lifetime.
It should be lifetime, that's what BMW quote, but obviously oil degrades over time, so it is worth changing. Normally around sort of 90 to 100k, so that's probably why.
So it makes sense.
You've got a bit of oil build up at the bottom here, which if you follow the trail, it looks to be coming from maybe the rear main seal, which is located obviously behind the clutch and behind the flywheel inside. The oil is only kind of this high, it doesn't really go much higher than that. So that normally indicates
common thing?
It is a common one. We've changed them a few times on the N54. So it's not kind of end of the world stuff. You drop the box, drop the clutch and the diff, and then change the seal over, and it just stops obviously that build up of oil inside the clutch. But I mean, leaks wise, there's nothing else. It's really clean.
It's almost like I expected this was going to be a disaster, and it's actually not.
You kind of prep yourself to put it in the air, and you go, "Oh my God, here we go!" And then it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you just go on and on and on. But it is, for a car of its age and mileage, it's definitely been very well looked after.
You were saying that it's clearly had something going on.
Yeah, so at the front on the crankshaft pulley, you can see just up here, there's 2 yellow marks, and that's like a paint pen, which normally people use to indicate timing of an engine when they're kind of working on the engine. So it's maybe had some form of engine work carried out, indicated by those lines, but I couldn't tell you for sure what it was without kind of stripping the engine down. But then looking in the engine bay, it's very clean up there as well. So I don't really have much to tell you, unfortunately, apart from stuff like the tyres, which you knew anyway.
Yeah, so
the tyres are old.
I've not really spoken about that yet. Front tyres are from 18, so they're about 5 years old. Rear tyres are from the end of 16, so approaching 7 years. So it's going to be time to get rid of those. And this is where it's like small cosmetic stuff, right? Because it'd be nice to have new roundels. It'd be nice to have some new like pops, even the badges and things.
Badges. I mean, even the wheels look quite clean. So again, they've either been very well looked after or they've been refurbed at some point. The silver looks a little bit flat. I don't know if it's because it's dirty or not. So it maybe had a refurb at some point. But again, there's no like corrosion on the back end or around the rim on the back or anything like that. It's definitely been dry stored. I would assume, judging by how little rust there is and how clean it actually is generally underneath.
On the channel, I'm used to showing cars that aren't quite as old. I mean, this is a 12-year-old car. Obviously, things look a little bit older as a result, but I mean, bar the occasional kind of thing like this.
A bit of rust gone through. It could have just been like a point that's collected damp and then burnt through. But again, you see where it's so thin, it's just corrosion.
It's just a thin bit of heat shield.
And that's just a heat shield. It's not, but yeah, I mean, like exhaust-wise, all the bolts and stuff aren't corroded and they're normally kind of flaking away. So again, it's either been changed, there's like a maintenance, like a preventative thing to look after, or it's had some exhaust work, but the exhaust is standard, so it's it's a very clean car.
Any signs that anything's ever been previously modified and taken back? I guess not really.
Not really. Again, like the exhaust stuff, there's new nuts on here, so that could indicate maybe it had an exhaust on it, and then when they put the standard one back on, they've put new nuts on. And the gaskets are quite clean looking from the outside, so possibly it's had an exhaust done, or it could have just been that the gaskets were leaking and they've changed the gaskets over this.
I suspect it's probably really the latter. I mean, the car's history did a lot of miles in its first 5, 6, 7 years, not done so many miles in the more recent years, but continued to have its annual service, main dealer work, so it's always been like by the book, if you will.
I mean, there isn't anything that's excessively worn or damaged that you would say it doesn't get looked after. Generally, if you had a car going for service, they would look the car over, do the vehicle check, and they'd look and say, oh, your gearbox mounts look a little bit worn. And then judging by this, the customers then said, yep, go ahead, change them over.
It's almost like no cost spared.
Yeah, it's like he knows he's got a good car, he knows it's a nice car, he wants to keep on top of it, which is grand, you know, it's a good way to be. But yeah, I mean, even like all the rubber components, nothing's perished, nothing's broken. The diffs look, the drive shafts, look fairly clean. There's no leaks in any of the boots. It's had a couple of bushes. I did notice that as well. Which one was it? These ones here.
Yeah.
So these bushes look quite new. That one there and the outer one on here as well. So they were probably worn, and they've changed them over, had a bit of play in it. But the rest of it, again, it's just very clean.
Yeah, it's mostly cosmetic stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like
paint-wise, the exhaust tips aren't. Yeah, they're not the best. They definitely haven't been looked after. A few bits of paintwork and things, but mechanically underneath, at least, is very, very good.
It's sharp. It's where it should be.
It's very good, which is good and bad because we wanted to do some work. But
we will do some work.
We've still got stuff to do, but yeah, it's not going to be a complete overhaul, which is good.
Your attention has been grabbed to something here.
Yeah, I was just having a look while it's at this level at your shocks, just to make sure there's no oil around here where it's leaking or anything like that, or any broken springs. What I really noticed was this sticker, which is a genuine BMW sticker. So it hasn't been lowered, and it's not on any modified springs, they are standard. So yeah, it was just really checking over the suspension components while it's there. Again, in pretty good condition.
All how it should be. It's the silly things, isn't it, though? Because it's like the lenses on the headlights are a bit clouded, and the wheels aren't perfect, but the important stuff is all where it should be.
I mean, yeah, stuff like suspension, your tyres, your brakes, your wheels, that's what holds you to the road. They're the important things.
Yeah.
They're what you know wants to be safe, which is obviously why you know you're going to change your tyres, which you've said anyway. Your brakes are good. The pads are fairly new. I don't know if you'll be able to see in there with the camera or not, but the pads have got a lot of life on them, and there's a new brake wear sensor as well, so they've been changed fairly recently. The discs are a little bit scored with a small lip, but you'd probably get another set of pads out of those, like these pads, before you want to change the discs. And the rears, again, the pads are really good, the discs are just a little bit scored. But yeah, stuff like suspension, tyres, brakes, most important stuff to check over when you're buying a car, and these are all in great condition aside from the tyres, which you know you're going to change.
Time to pop the hood. in here. I'm going to completely fail at this one. I'm going to let you do it. My hand is in the wrong place holding a camera.
There you go.
There we go. Again, it looks clean, doesn't it?
It's very clean. And it isn't shiny clean. What a lot of people do when they sell a car, not everyone, but a lot of people, they'll cover it in some kind of degreaser or like an engine dress up, and it makes it really shiny and then it looks really clean. But this is normal BMW looking black plastic.
Yeah.
So it's not even like it's been caked in anything or cleaned up. I mean, you've got stuff like the inner arch, and up here you've got like bits of dirt and dust.
Yeah.
So it's not like anyone's tried to dress it up as something it isn't. It's just it's just been well maintained. You can tell the difference between a car that's been looked after and a car that's been cleaned purposely to look good.
Yeah.
And this just generally looks like something that's been well maintained and well looked after. Did you have to jump start it when you got it?
No, we didn't.
No?
But it probably has been at some point in its life.
Yeah, I would have thought it's been jumped because it's not. If it's been sat for quite a while and not left on charge as well.
Well, we tend to keep the cars on a C-Tetrical charger. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we do here as well. Yeah, I mean, it's probably cooled down enough now. We can check fluid levels and stuff just as a general check over. A little bit of pressure.
This is why you do it, not me.
It's got coolant, plenty of coolant in there. Again, you can't tell too much, but the coolant does look pretty clean in there. It's not gunky or filled with anything. So, yeah, that's good. There doesn't seem to be any leaks either from like the oil filter housing gaskets. This is your cooler here. There's no leaks on there. There's no leak from the oil filter itself. The cam cover itself as well looks quite dry along the sides. There's no kind of oil weeping down. Yes, yeah, it is very clean.
It's looking good. I'm sure it could do with an oil service at some point.
Yeah, I mean, depending on the history of it, obviously if it's been sat for a while, it's worth doing. I mean, it all, like the panel and stuff all looks straight, so it's not like it's been crashed or anything like that.
It's certainly had some paint at the front.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be obliterated with stone chips by now. It's never had paint protection film, and it's clean.
Yeah.
We think the alignment might be slightly out from the bonnet when it's down.
Yeah.
It just feels like it's not 100% flush, but paintwork's pretty good.
You can normally tell by when you look at like the bolts that fit like wings on and the bonnet. If there's paint missing around them, you can tell that they've been taken off and moved and they've been painted and things like that.
Well, they don't really. Just a bit of dirt build up.
Just a bit of a dirt build up, yeah. But I mean, yeah, it's obviously what 2011, yeah. So it's 12 years old this year. It's not. It's going to have had its life.
I'm just waiting for you to tell me I found a problem.
Oh, there's this. Yeah, I mean, you've got a bit of oil build up here.
Okay.
Just on here, which is your one of your charge pipes. That could be a seal in there, but I don't know what way you want to move forward. You can either change them and uprate them to like a metal pipe that lasts longer, or you can just replace it. But again, it's just rubber seals. They perish over time.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's going to go at some point anyway.
It's going to happen. No, I really want to find something for you, mate. But I'm struggling.
Hey, no, I should look at this on the bright side. I've got an absolute bargain.
Yeah, it's a bonus. You know, if you pay a good price for something, then you haven't got loads and loads of money to spend into it. Then it's a good day, right? Also
means it's a good kind of bed to begin with for what we want to do with it.
Yeah, the thing is, if you're, I don't know whether you're looking at modifying it, like improving stuff, brakes, suspension-wise. Yeah. If you're going to do that anyway, you know you haven't got to build it up to a perfect car to then modify it and make it even better. If you have a car that's running really rough and you put modifications on it, you're going to improve it anyway, so you can't tell how good the mods are compared to a standard one, right? So if you've got a good car and then you modify it, you know that you're actually improving the genuine feel of the car. So yeah, no, it's not the end of the world. It's good. It's good stuff. So I was just about to put the undertrays back on, and I noticed this sticker here, which normally indicates that someone's bought a new plastic wheel arch for it.
That looks far too clean and
it's very clean for the age of it. So yeah, I mean, it's stuff like that that just shows the car's been very well looked after. they haven't cheaped out, they've bought genuine parts, and they've obviously changed stuff as and when it's needed to be done. So you bought a good car, man.
I like that. Thank you for inspecting it.
No problem, anytime.
And back down we come, ready to be driven back home for now. Pretty good bill of health, it has to be said. Oil service due now, as per the readouts on the screen inside. So that will be an imminent change. Obviously tyres as well coming very soon. And then we start playing with it and we start working out what we want to do next. Look at that little thing, pulling it back out then. Ready for the onwards journey. The only weird one then is that it just turned off, but that's the headlight warning. We don't really understand why or what at the moment, but anyway, it's gone for now. So we shall commence our drive. Farewell to the team here who have very kindly looked after us today to be able to take a look at this and make our way back towards base from here in the little 1M. Back at base, but with a slightly unfamiliar view, the 1M parked right here because we have a new Shmeemobile. Tom is currently using our new floor scrubber, which was long overdue, to keep this floor looking really nice. Obviously, this was done a couple of months ago now by Cure, using the Westwood paints to bring this racetrack to the barn. But as a side effect, we need to keep it looking nice. Well, we want to keep it looking nice, obviously. We had regular concrete underneath. Now we've got this beautiful finish, and it's amazing to see how well it comes up, actually, using that. So picked up one of those, doing the job perfectly. Today, though, was, of course, about this, and it's such a fun thing to drive. And what's interesting is, even doing some more miles in it today, the diff even now feels like it's getting back into the flow. It's driven very few miles in the last 12 months. Obviously, over the last couple of years, very few anyway. But the last 12 months, I think it was like a couple of hundred max. So probably just the oils and fluids sitting still for too long have basically caused it to get a bit clunky, but it feels like it's loosening up once it goes through the cycle. So maybe a diff oil change will be the trick for that. Obviously it needs a service, all of those kind of things are going to be coming. But to be honest, I'm really quite happy. Yes, there are things we know it needs, headlights, interior trims, small bits all around, but the overall result is pretty spot on. Like, I don't really know what else I could have hoped for. I thought there was going to be something under the skin that we would find out, but you know, even plugging in the THINKCAR, which I've got just here, that we've been running, MuCar CDE 900 to bring up, nothing basically, which is the kind of odd thing. Everything is good and dandy. In the car, it tells you when the next MOT and all that stuff is due, which is actually in a couple of weeks' time. So we'll have to go and get that done. But mission success. If you'd like to grab one of these, I will pop some information down below. Do thoroughly recommend it. Always travel with something like that, and just helpful to be able to dig into any diagnostics from the car and obviously get all of that information in something super easy to travel with and keep on you. So a big thanks to Aston, to Imran, to the team over at Evolve for popping this up on the ramps to have a little look at it. And yeah, a big thanks to Wisely Automotive for selling me a really good BMW M. What more could I ask for? Anyway, plenty more to come in this series as we transform this. I've got some wild ideas, might have to rein them down a little bit, but either way, it's going to be fun. So thank you very much for watching, guys. I appreciate you guys an awful lot. That's it for this time, though, and I'll see you again very soon. Cheers.